Hello, everyone. This is Dr. David Pascal from the Pascal Health Institute in Cary, North Carolina. And today I'm going to talk to you about one of my all-time favorite modalities, maybe one of the most unique modalities in existence on planet Earth, and that is called the sound of soul. And before I can dive into that, I need to do a little background. So, um, For those of you that are familiar with Dr. Emoto's work, he's the water crystal guy. You know that water holds energy. For those of you that are not familiar with Dr. Emoto's work, let me let you know that water holds energy. And we are 70% water. And so we hold energy, we hold resonance, the vibration of all sorts of stuff, the vibration of the town we live in, the vibration of the environment we're in, the vibration of those people that are next to us, near to us, the vibration of the food that we eat. From a physics viewpoint, everything is vibrating. And so you hear me talk about this in the past that in terms of vibration, anything, everything can only be in one of three states. Either those cells, tissues, organs, body are vibrating normally, whatever normal is, normal for them, or vibrating too quickly, or vibrating too slowly. And what we have found over the last 30 plus years that I've been doing this is that when you have abnormal vibration, you have abnormal function. And if you restore normal vibration, you restore normal function. And there was a research scientist in Japan, Dr. Emoto, and he spent 30, 40 years of studying resonance or vibration or energy. And he did it in particular in water. So what he would do is take some water, some regular water, freeze it, shave off a couple of the ice crystals, look at it under a microscope, and see all the crystals, that had formed in those water molecules, and they looked nice. And then he thought, well, if everything holds vibration and resonance, what would happen if I intentionally prayed into this water? What would happen if I said good things with effort into this water? If I praised this water and then froze it, took some crystals and looked at it, would that be different from just regular old water? And lo and behold, when he did that, the crystals that he found were beautiful, gorgeous, much more aesthetic than the regular water. So then he also wondered, well, what if we say negative things to the water? What if we berate the water and yell at the water and wish ill intent to the water and then, freeze it, take off some crystals and look at it under the microscope? What would that look like? And when he did that, lo and behold, those crystals were in disarray. They were ugly. They did not have the beautiful structure that the water that was praised had. So he said, look, we're 70% water. Clearly, if water can hold energy and has such an impact, we really should be mindful about our thoughts, our deeds, what we allow people to say to us, what we do with our self-talk, the environment that we're in. He spent 30 years studying this, and he went all over the world. He went to all these holy water sites, the Ganges and the Vatican and Jerusalem, and you know other sites in South America and Africa and Asia, because there's many places that are considered holy by mankind. And he gathered as many samples as he could over the years and ran this experiment. And one for one, what he found is these special water sites, their crystals look completely different. So even someplace like the Ganges River that is full of toxins and pollution and whatnot, you wonder why people aren't sick when they go bathing in that holy river all the time. Lo and behold, those crystals are gorgeous. So it must have something. So that tells us that energy has priority over even toxins. So those of you that may have toxic exposure might want to think about, the power of intention and prayer and good self-talk and thoughts. Dr. Emoto even took regular water and on a piece of paper wrote, you know, bad and taped it to some water, and on another beaker of water he wrote good and love and joy, and the other one he wrote all these negative things. I don't even want to speak them, but you can think of some negative words. And he did that same thing, not even saying that to the water, just labeling the water. And then after some period of time, he again froze the water, looked at it under a microscope, and the same thing. Just the label alone changed the energy structure in the water. So that's the first thing that I want to tell you. The second thing I want to talk to you about is something, again, that I talked to you in the past about, and that is our autonomic nervous system. Just as a brief refresher, the autonomic nervous system is a part of our nervous system that is basically on automatic, right? We don't really have control over it. Our heart rate, our blood flow, our cellular repair, our digestion of food, the blood flow of blood into our muscles or into our organs. Those are things that we don't really control. And so that's why the medical establishment call them automatic. And this automatic system or autonomic nervous system primarily has two parts. One is the sympathetic, and the other, as you know, is the parasympathetic. And sympathetic is our go, 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 and parasympathetic is our rest and heal and digest. And so you cannot be in the sympathetic go, go, go state and heal and be in a parasympathetic state at the same time. It's like trying to drive down the road with a flat tire and change your tire while you're driving. Cannot be done. And because of that, a lot of the therapies, every therapy that we have is geared, and our approach is geared toward taking our patients and pushing them out of a sympathetic fight or flight, go, go, go state and into a parasympathetic healing state. So I wanted to give you that refresher. Now let's go back to Dr. Emoto. Well, there was a Austrian physicist. He had a couple master's degrees in physics, and he heard about Emoto, and he's like, this guy's crazy. I know all about energy and physics. I got 2 master's degrees. I'm going to go from Austria and go to Japan and prove this guy is a charlatan. And so I'm sure you all know the story. He goes to Japan. He tries to debunk Dr. Emoto's work, and the more he looks into it, the more validated Dr. Emoto's work became. And this man ended up being one of his proteges for years and years. Eventually, he left Dr. Emoto, went back to Australia and Austria in Europe, and through fate or the universe or whatever, he met different people with different technologies, and he ended up developing a machine which is called the Sound of Soul. Let me tell you how it works or what it does. First, and I have one. So I think there's only about 3 or 4 in the United States, and we've had one for, I don't know, 6 or 8 years. We love it. First thing we do is we hook a patient up to a heart rate monitor so we can see, what their heart is doing. We hook it up into heart rate variability machine, and what heart rate variability allows us to do is see, are you in a sympathetic state or are you in a parasympathetic state? And this computer is doing it in live time. So patients laying there, I'm looking at the computer and I can see exactly where they are. Then what this computer does is it takes all the different characteristics of a person's heartbeat, like how strong and what the intervals are between the different waves and the intensity and the speed, all these different variables, and it assigns a musical note to each quality of your heartbeat. And so so it takes your heartbeats, converts them into musical notes. Then it has a synthesizer, and it runs those musical notes into the synthesizer, and then it's up to me to pick a cello or viola or conga drums or whatever it is that I feel is the right thing that it will help resonate with you. And then we play the music that your own heartbeat, your own heart has created, and you are listening to that music with headphones on. I'm listening to the same music that you are creating at the same time. We have speakers in the room putting that music into the room, and we even have a special light that LED that is converting the music into light and shooting that, filling that, filling the room up with that. And while all this is going on, I'm looking at the computer to see, okay, are you still up in a sympathetic state? How high jacked up are you? Or are you starting to come down? And so then it's up to me as the practitioner to find which musical instrument I believe will most resonate with your body to help you come down in live time into a parasympathetic state. And so when I find that right instrument, then you'll spend 15, 20 minutes being passively pushed down into a parasympathetic state. And that is that's a key factor. We know that there's many different ways that we can actively stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, right? We can do hummingbird exercise, we can do vagus nerve exercise, we can do various things to help push ourselves into a parasympathetic state, but we have to actively do that, right? With Sound of Soul, it's completely passive. You are just laying there being bathed in the light and the sound of that your heart has created, and in the musical tone that will bring you down into a parasympathetic state. So when we do this session, we make a recording of it. And then at the end of the session, you get a copy of that recording of what best brought you down into the parasympathetic state. And then you can play that anytime you're anxious, anytime you feel like you're too sympathetic, or, in the evening before you go to sleep, to help put you passively into a parasympathetic state. So that is Sound of Soul. I can't think of anything more beautiful than the music that your own heart creates. There is another thing that we can do. We can take two people and do a Sound of Soul session with two people at the same time. Usually two people that are having some type of disagreement, maybe a mother and a daughter, maybe a husband and wife. It could be anybody. Because obviously when you're having an argument or an upset, there's an upset with somebody, there's a disagreement with someone, you are not resonating together, right? You're not in the same energy. And what the Sound of Soul does is we hook two people up to the heart rate monitor at the same time. And then we have both of their hearts creating music. And then we find what brings them into harmony, what brings both people into the same resonance and into that parasympathetic state. And it, again, is really an amazing thing to see what happens with relationships when we do that. So that is my Sound of Soul. Love it, love it, love it. I don't know if we have any questions on this call. So if you are watching this taped and you decide that you have a question, you can just type it in the space below, or you can email or text our office. Our email is drpascalhelps@gmail.com, and our office number is 919-380-8000. We are on here every week, and of course, our whole purpose is try to help those of you that have CRPS, or those of you that are supporting people that have CRPS, to get into remission. And that is our goal. Please join us here weekly. Please tell your friends and family about our group, and We'd love to have more people in our CRPS Solutions group so we can help more people. We're just ending the year here, 2024. We have a little over 400 people, and we just want to continue to grow, spread the word, and help. I wish you all the best always and look forward to speaking with you soon.